as you all know, there was a sharp increase in steel products and raw material prices since the beginning of this year, as shown in the graphs at the top. But the GCC producers were not able to pass the overall increase in feedstock cost to the consumers because of low demand. And the result was, of course, shrinking margins. As you can see in the low left graph, iron ore prices increased by more than 100%. Now, Europe and China increased prices by around 97%, while the UAE producers could only get around 73%. As a result, the operating margin was reduced by more than $100 per ton, as seen in the lower right graph.
Let's look at how the MENA region started the year in 2021. Well, we started the year with more than 5 million COVID cases and 122,000 deaths. And this had actually impacted the economic activity very badly, with value of projects crashing by almost 1/3. But on the good side, the oil price recovery was steady, and there was better outlook after the rollout of vaccination. And because of the fundamentals and the long-term steel demand drivers that we saw earlier, the need for infrastructure continues in the Middle East, with approximately $800 billion of projects underway across the MENA region and another $3.3 trillion at some stage of planning. And lastly, the Abu Dhabi, which is the capital, the project market by sector is shown here as reported by Mead. This adds up to a $331 billion market, with construction leading the way at $182 billion, or 55%. And construction and transportation makes up for almost 2/3 of the total market. ONG at over 26%, or $86 billion.
I think what's happening now, and the supply that is having difficulty to follow the surging demand is also probably a result of many years where the industry was suffering of low prices, low margins, and that's why there were at least in our region very few investments, and also maybe cutting on some investments, and that's why it's we are seeing this today. So probably the when there is a long time where margins are low, of course you try to make savings on some things, and then when you want to put all the capacities running at full capacity, it's a bit more difficult.
I would like to address this question, if you allow me, in two fronts. The first front is how we dealt with it from people's side, which is, I think, the most important part of it. And this starts not only from MMSteel. Honestly, it starts from UAE at all, as a whole. Alhamdulillah, the Emirates has managed the pandemic very well. We are one of the leaders in terms of the vaccine and how we dealt actually with it in a very delicate and a very good way, where alhamdulillah we are not really having a lot of cases, and it's really managed very well. We are just following the leads of the government, and MMSteel is also likewise. My team's focus was priority number one is how to really save people. Regardless what happens at the beginning, of course we were learning, as the pandemic has emerged, but at the beginning, but during the time, of course, we have managed it very well. We focus on how we protect our people, and then how we protect the business. I can tell you we had really good control, and we continue our business normally, despite the fact that it was very challenging. So from the business point of view, we had we continue our operation. We had to really deliver our material during the pandemic, during the tough year of last year for our customers, which is essential, especially for the UAE market. It was essential for us to really deliver and keep the operation ongoing. Of course, the demand, we can talk about maybe later in more details, but the demand has, of course, impacted in the region. But we were operating according to the needs of the markets, and also we did export some of our material to our 40 countries or 40 markets that we are operating.
In school, they teach us about demand and supply, the market forces determining, the prices and the industry. But in reality, what happens is your demand comes from your customers who do speculative buying. The mentality of people is, if the prices have gone up from last week to this week, the expectation is it's going to go up next week, and vice versa. If the prices have gone down from last week to this week, the expectation is it's going to go down further. So there is a lot of cattle mentality. There is a lot of speculative buying with the customers. So my advice to all of them, which we follow personally, is that we buy what we need. We know what our capacity is, so we buy raw material just enough to keep us running, irrespective of where the market is. If the market's gone up, we pay higher price. Market's gone down, we pay lower price. So coming back to your question, is this sustainable? We don't know. We have to wait and watch. Since there is a lot of speculative buying, the minute the prices start to reverse, people are going to go into the mentality of, oh, you know what? If I have a demand, if I need the material, if I need to book the material today, I'd rather wait for another week and get a lower price. And God forbid, if the price does go down, then they would want to wait more. So their actual demand would not matter anymore. And they would reach a point when there's going to be a stock out situation. That's when they start buying and the prices go up, and then they want to buy more and more and more. So this kind of speculative buying is going to exist as long as people exist, and there's not really much that we can do about it. So what I follow in my company is that we buy what we need and we sell what we can produce. We don't take a position on the market, irrespective of which way the market is headed. I know it is very tempting when the prices move so fast. It is very tempting to book an extra parcel of hot rolled coil if I expect the prices to go up, or to drop the prices further and sell more galvanized if I expect the prices to go down. But the more I stay away from it, the more success it has actually brought.